Hey, how's it going, folks? Welcome to Crypto Growth. This is your host, Shazib, signing in. The BitTensor TAO Subnets have arrived. We're going to be going through some BitTensor TAO updates, and we're going to be checking out what is the latest news regarding BitTensor TAO, as well as looking at the network upgradation and progress, what's happening. So this video is all about the progress of TAO, and we're going to be looking at the tweet of TAO regarding the subnets as well. So stay tuned and watch the entire thing. And for those of you who are new to the channel, we primarily discuss about utility tokens, utility coins, and the ISO20022 coins, as well as other interesting coins as well. So if you're interested in any of them, look at this rough map and subscribe for regular videos. So let us begin. I've brought this interesting article for you guys. Does AI deserve to be decentralized? The philosophical case for decentralizing AI is simple. AI is digital knowledge, and knowledge might be the number one construct of the digital world that deserves to be decentralized. Throughout the history of Web3, we have made many attempts to decentralize things that work extremely well in a centralized architecture, and where decentralization didn't provide obvious benefits, knowledge is not one of the natural candidates for decentralization from both the technical and economic standpoint. The level of control being accumulated by the big AI providers is creating a massive gap with the rest of the competition to the point that it is becoming scary. AI does not evolve linearly or even exponentially, it follows a multi exponential curve. GPT-4 represents a massive improvement over GPT 3.5 across many dimensions, and that trajectory is likely to continue. At some point, it becomes unfeasible to try to compete with centralized AI providers. A well designed decentralized network model could enable an ecosystem in which different parties collaborate to improve the quality of models, which enables democratic access to knowledge and sharing of the benefits. What does this remind you of? None other than BitTensor TAO. We're going to be checking out BitTensor TAO's charter as well and other uh, updates regarding the network in a moment. Let us go skim through this. Transparency is the second factor that can be considered when evaluating the merits of decentralization in AI. Foundation model architecture involve millions of interconnected neurons across several layers, making it impractical to understand using traditional monitoring practices. Nobody really understands what happens inside GPT-4, and OpenAI has no incentives to be more transparent in that area. Decentralized AI networks could enable open testing benchmarks and guardrails that provide visibility into the functioning of foundation models without requiring trust in a specific provider. So you guys can see why hasn't decentralized AI worked until now. If the case for decentralized AI is so clear, then why haven't we seen any successful attempts in this area? After all, decentralized AI is not a new idea, and many of its principles date back to the early 1990s. Without getting into technicalities, the main reason for the lack of success of decentralized AI approaches is that the value proposition was questionable at best. Before large foundation models came into the scene, the dominant architecture paradigm was different forms of supervised learning that required highly curated and labeled datasets, which resided mostly within corporate boundaries. So corporations basically had a monopoly over the datasets. Additionally, the models were small enough to be easily interpretable using mainstream tools. Finally, the case for control was also very weak, as no models were strong enough to cause any level of concern. In a somewhat paradoxical twist, the prominence of large-scale generative AI and foundation models in a centralized manner helped make the case for decentralized AI viable for the first time in history. Now that we understand that AI deserves to be decentralized and that this time is somewhat different from previous attempts, we can start thinking about which specific elements require decentralization. So, guys, what company you can think of that is pioneering its way into the decentralized AI the best? none other than BitTensor TAO at the moment. TAO is a revolutionary technology. I've talked about it in my previous videos in relevance to that as well. You can check that out. So we're going to be, for those of you who aren't acquainted with TAO, we're just going to be going through this charter in a nutshell. BitTensor, this is basically the BitTensor charter, what BitTensor is all about. Charter, there is wide agreement that the blossoming of artificial intelligence offers up tremendous promise and risk for humanity's relationship with technology along multiple axes. Those include its potential use to abuse humans, long-term existential risk to the human race, and its ability to increase power imbalances. We acknowledge the following principles as our commitments to stop those outcomes. Those are our counterpoint to centralized control. The greater the power, the more dangerous the abuse. So, BitTensor's spirit is decentralization, like the article we just saw propounded that decentralization is the way for AI going forward. BitTensor is taking that step ahead. Decentralized preference consensus. The purpose of power is to give it away. We firmly oppose the misuse of AI for harmful intent and will actively strive to prevent the spread of harmful content. Open ownership. In real open source, you have the right to control your own destiny. The BitTensor network inherently allows open and unpermissioned ownership accrual to those who contribute. We, the signatories, will work to clear the path through which individuals may work to participate and therefore gain real control in the development of AI. Open source development, it is open source. For us, open source is a moral imperative, a necessity. We are totally committed to open source development of all our work within the BitTensor ecosystem, whether it be mining, validating, subnetwork creation, or any other value creating software. And will actively support open source development projects, education initiatives, and those who seek to lower barriers to entry at all levels. Transparency. Transparency is trust. The BitTensor blockchain's value transfers are at all times completely transparent. We, the signatories, are further committed to total transparency of BitTensor's decision-making process above and beyond what is already public, with the intention of making it clear what our votes in the DAO entail and why we distribute our preferences in this way to direct BitTensor. So we can see the spirit of TAO. It is transparent, it is open source, AI for everyone, making AI humane, giving it a human face. It is basically the network of networks, open ownership. Anyone can contribute from anywhere in the globe. Conclusion, we have chosen BitTensor as our common platform to represent our shared values for an open and decentralized future of AI. We are devoted to opposing centralized control and encouraging decentralized decision making through open ownership, software development, and superior transparency. We believe together we can shape an AI landscape that truly serves the collective interests of humanity. This is James Woodman. He's the head of growth, Open Tensor. TAO equals future of decentralized intelligence, like Ethereum was the future of decentralized software apps and future of money. I'm a bit skeptical about Ethereum being the future of decentralized software apps, as I believe that there are much better technologies that can overtake it in a few years or so. Anyways, wouldn't it be cool if every developer in the world had access to the same resources as Google or OpenAI? Imagine if every developer had access to a world-class AI team, compute team, storage team, etc. This would level the playing field, ensuring the best developers with the best ideas win. With the best ideas win, not simply the companies with the overbearing access to these powerful resources. So basically now BitTensor is making these powerful resources accessible to everyone. If a more equitable common infrastructure for AI interests you, come build with us Open Tensor. So guys, finally, BitTensor subnets have arrived. What does this mean and why do subnets matter? This was the title of this video. So if you've liked this video up until this point, do make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So we're going to be looking at other updates of BitTensor as well. So let's continue. This from the official BitTensor handle. BitTensor subnets have arrived. What does this mean and why do subnets matter? The unveiling of user created subnets represents a historic moment for both BitTensor and the future of decentralized intelligence. The BitTensor language is being opened to the world, allowing any individual to create markets for the commodities needed to create intelligence. So, these subnets are going to be used to create knowledge itself. It is going to be creating intelligence. The validators are going to be fighting for relevant knowledge and intelligence. A decentralized commodity market is powerful for the same reason Google, OpenAI, or any tech giant is powerful. Intelligence is the product of several digital commodities, compute, data, etc. And until now, these commodities have only been available under siloed corporate roofs. Siloed means isolated corporate roofs. The advent of the user created subnet will unleash a Cambrian explosion of digital commodity markets, all under one unified token system. Now, any developer will have access to the same resources as those historically privileged few who operate within the closed doors of big tech. Now, any small, medium, or large developer will have access to these resources in a decentralized open source platform, which initially were only available to the big tech companies and so on. The only difference is on BitTensor, these resources will be more powerful as our network leverages compute and expertise from every corner of the earth. Knowledge of high level is going to be contributed to the network from every part of the earth. The AI machine learning juggernaut has arrived. By directing the power of digital markets towards society's most important digital commodity, AI, we will build the most powerful intelligence network in the world. And more importantly, by enabling global participation and ownership, BitTensor will ensure that AI remains in the hands of the people. It is like the Abraham Lincoln saying, by the people, for the people. So this is like AI for the people. So it is truly democratizing the AI. We envision a future where we are all equal and all possess control over the most powerful technology humanity has ever created. Guys, along with the technology, what basically gives me some motivation and hope to follow BitTensor is the philosophy behind it. It is giving AI a human face. It has a philosophical foundation as well. Along with a revolutionary technology, you guys can see it is built upon some moral, philosophical ground as well. They're basically giving a new dimension, a new perspective to artificial intelligence, to knowledge, to intelligence. The fear of AI that we've had that it might go into the control of corporations. This is basically a fight against that. It is like a revolution against that. We talk about centralization as well in our videos, the good coins, the companies who are using those coins. But in the meantime, there has to be a level of decentralization as well available, so that everything is balanced out, in my opinion. For interested developers, the most relevant information can be found here. So if someone's interested and wants to be a validator, or wants to build on OpenTensor, they can check this out. For the developers, if anyone wants to develop. So guys, you guys can see BitTensor TAO is gaining momentum. You guys can see this. BitTensor versus centralized AI. The only thing bigger than OpenAI, Google, or any centralized alternative is all of them combined. BitTensor input, AI models, they're all learning from each other. Yeah, OpenAI centralized input, GPT-4 output. So yeah, you guys can see OpenAI, BitTensor TAO is gaining a lot of ground. TAO distribution after BitTensor revolution, 7200 TAO daily. Subnet owners get 18%, subnet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Validators 41%, 2952 TAO. Validators and delegators, miners as well, 41%. For those of you who do not know, validators are the ones that basically validate the transactions or the network, the blocks. In proof of stake, these are basically the stakers that have that required amount to stake. Delegators are basically using the pool of validators to get a share in the rewards. So yeah, you guys can see that TAO is gaining ground. TAO emission after the BitTensor revolution, 41% goes to miners, 41% is allocated to validators, 82% to delegators, 18% to validators. The remaining 18% is distributed among subnetwork owners, which has gone live, as we saw, with the allocation determined by the weights of the subnets based on the validators running on those specific subnets. So you guys can see the Open Tensor Foundation is keeping the community updated as well. This is an article which was published on September 8th. Subnet 1, performance improvement, BitTensor charter, community efforts, gate listing, community spaces. They're talking about what they've been doing. Official sponsorship of Hack MIT. We are pleased to announce our sponsorship of Hack MIT, scheduled for September 16 to 17 in Cambridge, MA. This partnership aligns with our commitment to engage with emerging talent, introducing them to the potential of BitTensor and encouraging their participation in our open source ecosystem. So this is great. User created subnets set to go live. The user created subnets are live now, as we saw from the tweet. User created subnets are set to launch on September 18th. It launched on 2nd October, I guess. As an open source developer, you now have the ability to write your own. Now, this is a bit of detail regarding the subnets. As an open source developer, you now have the ability to write your own incentive mechanisms. By tapping into BitTensor's network of intelligence, you can incentivize AI models from all over the world to perform tasks of your choosing, that is image generation, storage, compute, access, etc. The possibilities are truly endless. The release of subnets offers the potential to pull these tools into a shared network, making all the ingredients necessary to create intelligence available within one network, governed by one token. This is giving the TAO token utility extreme utility. It is an incredibly exciting time for BitTensor, and we thank you for your continued support as we work to democratize access to intelligence. So guys, you guys can see how revolutionary BitTensor TAO is proving to be. So at the moment, one TAO is priced at around $52.96 with a market cap of 218.21 million apparently. So you guys can do your own research and dig this out. We're going to be covering this as well in the upcoming videos as well as we move forward. So yeah guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to like, share and subscribe and hit the notification bell as well. And if you're interested in any of these coins as well, then make sure to subscribe. Like I always say in the end, until next time, stay blessed and stay tuned. Thank you.